Welcome to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is your podcast for all things hockey. On this podcast, we talk about past history to the modern day and what you can do to grow the sport. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. And welcome back to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is episode 35. With me today is Zach Arden. Zachary, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Adam. I'm excited.
Perfect. So we're going to get into coaching back in the day of our old rivalries. And if you haven't done so already, please go subscribe over at rothsteina.substack.com. And if you like this podcast, 5 stars all around, and write me a little review on Apple as well. All right, let's get into it. So how did you begin your hockey journey?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Adam. So going back to, we're talking, I was probably 3 or 4. I started learning to skate over at Cabin John Ice Arena. If you remember Dina, the little power skating lady who used to wheel around out there with us. So I started around then, and then hopped in with Montgomery, and just honestly played house hockey through my squirt years. And then once I was a peewee, I started playing travel, and then went along to Team Maryland and Little Caps, and played at Tri-City a little bit as well. So that was my youth hockey journey through the area.
And did you get to AAA? You did get to AAA.
Yeah. So I played Team Maryland. I played Little Caps as well. Little Caps. So that would have been my Bantam and midget years. I was AAA. Yep.
Yeah. And how did you manage your time between AAA and Churchill?
Yeah. And that's another great question. And I have this conversation a lot with the student athletes I coach now, because there's a few that are trying to manage, maintaining good grades while also playing AAA and high school. And I was really lucky. It came down to having a coach that was super supportive of me. And obviously he wanted what was best for me. And as long as I was communicating with him, we would be okay. But for me, I never wanted to miss anything, whether it was AAA, whether it was high school. I was at everything I could be. And, my mom would tell you my grades suffered. I don't think they suffered. I was able to manage my time a little bit, but the main thing was sometimes you just have to sacrifice a little bit of, maybe a little bit of a social life with your friends, or, on a night you might not be at the rink, you might be having to do schoolwork. And because you're going to be at a showcase the upcoming weekend, you won't be able to catch up then. And at Churchill, we practiced, 2 times in the morning as well, which helped, because I wouldn't have to balance which practice I would have to go to, club versus high school, because I knew I was going to high school practice 5:30 in the morning at Cabin John every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And I would be, having my club practice usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. So, and then high school games would be Friday nights. So I was able to manage it that way as well.
And when I was able to get there eventually, it was great having the Friday night lights. We actually had our afternoon practices, and I mean, I needed it because there was no way I was my parents were going to be driving me down 15 miles to Cabin John, and I lived in Germantown, so it was a long schlep for me to get to school anyway. So I'm glad it was. I was glad it was the afternoon as well for me. And AAA, once you and that was and how was the experience of AAA just in general?
Yeah, it can be back then is a little different than it is now. There was only one legitimate AAA team per age group in the Maryland and Virginia area at the time. And that's a little different than it is now, where teams seem to be popping up every season. But it was competitive and it was good. And we had a lot of really good kids on that team that went on and played hockey at higher levels, and NCAA hockey, junior hockey. A couple actually ended up playing pro, and I think that's a testament to how good the hockey was in the area. And it's only better now. The issue now becomes there's too many teams and there's too many programs that want to sort of get a piece of a slice of the pie here. But when I was playing, super competitive, and it was really the best kids in the area. Like I said, a little bit different than it is now.
Now, you never made it to the NCAA.
So I did. So at Skidmore College, I was there. Yeah. Prior to my junior and senior year.
You went to Skidmore.
Yep.
Oh, wow. And you made it to the NCAA. What was that like playing with D1 NCAA?
Yeah. Well, so it's Division III, but so it was good. It was fast, man. It was fast. So, and I say this all the time, the biggest difference between Division I, Division III, club hockey, it's not always the skill, or most of the time it's your ability to make decisions with pace. And at club hockey might have a second, whereas the same play at Division III might have half a second, and in the same play at Division I, you like that, quarter of a second. So that's really the difference. It's not, the overall speed of players. It's not the skill. A lot of times it's your ability to make quicker decisions at pace. And yeah, I think it made me a better hockey player. And it certainly shaped a lot of my decision-making processes when it came to how to sort of translate my playing career into my coaching career.
That's incredible. You never played roller hockey, did you?
Did I play roller hockey? I played actually in the Maccabi games in roller hockey before they had ice hockey.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was I never really played like competitively except for that week-long Maccabi games tournament, like put on by the JCC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Where else? So becoming a coach, you had to get certified, you had to do all that as well. So what was it like when you became a coach?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Adam. So the main thing when I became a coach is it's the closest feeling you can get to playing without actually playing. And the reason I say that is because when you coach, you can really feel the ebbs and flows of the game. The only difference is obviously you're not able to go out and make a difference on your next shift. So I've loved coaching because I've loved the ability to sort of have effects on the game that way and stay involved. It's never going to match my love as a player, but it's come pretty close. And that's I think pretty exciting.
I'll tell you one thing. Ed Slusher was the head coach at Towson. I got to be his assistant coach, and I get it too. It's incredible as well. Now, continuing on with the college hockey, you played at Maryland for their D1 club team.
Yep.
And you noticed the difference of play. As well. And I thought when I got to Towson and I get to play against Navy in Maryland a little before you arrived on the scene. I mean, I was like, wow, and NCAA is more competitive than this, and I was like, yeah, apparently it is. So that was like overwhelming to think about. But I'm glad I made it when I did. So what kind of kids do you coach? Do you coach U14s or any?
So I coach. So I coach a bunch of different ages. My role is I'm the hockey director over at the Naval Academy. So I run the Navy youth hockey program. And under our umbrella, we have about 375 kids. Now that's ranging in age from U8 all the way through U18. I'm the head coach of a U10 team and a U16 team, as well as South River High School.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, just getting my spreadsheet up here. And now specific drills. We did a drill back at Towson called dots, where we would pass up and in backward skate, collect the pass, and then we'd go counterclockwise, or we'd go clockwise as well, to develop our passing. Any specific drills you work on with the U16s?
Yeah, that's another good question. That sounds like a good drill as well, Adam. I might have to have you out here to come coach with us and take that drill. But the main thing that I emphasize with older kids is you have to be competitive. So yeah, you'll do a couple warm-up drills, get the feet moving, get the hands moving, but we are very much about competition. And we try to make every drill a little bit of a competition, whether it's, a small game battle drill, or even if it's a one-on-one drill that you wouldn't think you'd be able to keep score. But we try to make everything a competition because, like I said, I think competition breeds success as you get older. And the more competitive team you have, typically the more successful you'll be.
I like that. Okay. All right. Advice on getting certified as a coach.
Yeah, USA Hockey doesn't make it easy, do they? So the first thing you always have to do is get a USA Hockey number. That's step one. Step two would be you have to attend a USA Hockey coaching clinic. In addition to that, you have the USA Hockey age module. So let's say you want to coach U14, you'd have to take the U14 age module. Building off of that, you also have to complete Safe Sport, which is important. And what am I missing? You also need to, well, if you want to coach high school as well, you need concussion training and you need CPR training. And you also need to do a background check for both USA Hockey and high school. And that's an additional obstacle toward becoming a coach.
Yeah. And yeah.
And that's before you've even stepped on the ice, right? Before you've even been able to be around other coaches, pick up on other drills. Now there's a couple really good websites for drills, like USA Hockey puts out, their American development model, which highlights a bunch of really good drills. And then you also have, Hockey Share. Hockey Share is really good for drills. And I that's what I use. And there's a couple different options as well.
All right. Have you ever tried to become a referee?
I have not, but I encourage every kid that I coach now to look into doing it, because not only is it a great way to get some extra spending money when you're in high school, but we need refs.
Of course. Now, if you were on my Substack, which you subscribe to, you would have noticed that I actually had a PDF guide for that.
Oh, so, I think I did see that, actually. It's very,
yeah. So so that's another reason why you should subscribe to your boy over here.
I will subscribe. I actually was looking at it this morning. You bet it. I will definitely subscribe tonight. Yeah. I will subscribe
to the YouTube channel. And actually, I did get your email from Substack. You put it in.
I put it in, and then I've got to join the subscription. So I'll make sure I join the subscription.
Oh, yeah, for $5 a month. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a steal.
Dude, it's the best.
It's a steal.
And you get access to the videos and all the paid content and articles. So
yeah,
definitely.
That sounds awesome.
And the bonus episodes too. So that's good.
That's great
as well. Yeah. Which all of you should do as well, for those watching on Spotify or YouTube. Okay, moving on here. So you definitely, so we talked before this, but when you're up by 10 goals in the third period, are you still playing the body? And this is from one of our fans by the name of Joe, and
Yes.
his last name begins with a V. Last
I'm
question.
sure. I'm
When
sure.
you're
Yeah.
up by 10 goals in the third period, are you still playing the body? Is it necessary to finish your checks, even if that player may be autistic? That was his question that he
That was
wanted
his
to.
question. No, it's not necessary. And I apologize, Adam. I did not know
Don't
that I
worry
did that.
about it. I mean, it was still good, and and I did get some experience, and at least I stood up. I didn't fall on the ice, so that's
Yeah.
good. Uh,
Okay, good. You didn't
oh,
fall. All right. That's not even a check then, Adam. I
yeah,
didn't even.
yeah. Then what? No, what? No, no. It's a check because I used the boards to keep
Yeah.
myself up.
Did you
I,
have the puck or no?
I did. I actually did have the puck. It was the final play of the game of when you did it. But that reminds me. So that was not the last question. The disparities between high school, all around. Like I noticed the house players are good on their own, and then you have the travel A, and then you got double A and triple A of what you were. I noticed like so much disparity too, and it's not like going on varsity lacrosse too at all. So, do you think there should be some sort of uh, or two separate divisions, but they play at the same high school? So, as well. So, sort of like what I was with the JV team in a way. So, I actually did play both JV and
And
varsity at one
varsity.
point.
Yeah.
But do you think that there should be a separate subdivision just for the single A players and the house players, as opposed to the triple A and double A players, as well?
I think the way the MSHL is going toward now, where you have, for example, Montgomery Conference has the Montgomery Division I and Montgomery Division II. I've been pushing that for the Eastern Conference as well over here in Annapolis. And the thing is, with the disparity in talent at the high school level, you're always going to get that. It's a little bit different than lacrosse or football or basketball or baseball or something like that, where there's a wide disparity in skill level of the kids. There's a lot of kids that play hockey, but a lot of kids, aren't AAA or aren't double, and that's totally fine. So I think if a school can have a varsity and a JV program, that's fantastic. If they can only have a varsity program, I think it's still good for kids to get that experience playing with, a little bit more skilled kids who have been playing for longer and have had more time to develop their skills. But I think that is a good idea too, where maybe you're not only from the same school, but maybe, you take WJ's house kids and you put them with Churchill's house kids. And now you have like a pretty competitive team, right? So it's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea at all. And I mean, and I could have been playing lacrosse. I could have been doing a million things, and yet I chose hockey, even though I came in at it late too.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one story that you should know. Do you remember Ty Glover?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you do. Oh, you do.
I think so. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
came in like either his sophomore or junior. No, he came in at his sophomore year, I think. And then he went on and he captained the Wildcats, and he was an excellent friend, great person. Had lunch with him many times during the final year of my WJ days. So, yeah, last I heard of him, he was married to someone and he's living in North Carolina. So, if you're watching this or listening to this, Ty, uh, you know, we're happy for you, and we hope you're doing well. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So there's that. Yeah. Any links you want to put in the show notes or anything, any promotion of anything of your brand?
Listen, I think Navy Youth Hockey would be a great thing to give a follow. I've got a couple, so we can go. Let me pull up the handle for Navy Youth Hockey, and I'll pull up the handle for you for South River Ice Hockey as well.
Okay, I'm gonna get my Libre Office out,
Yep.
and we're gonna put the links in.
Yep. So for we're talking Instagram here. Your Navy Youth Hockey is Navy_youth_hockey.
Are you putting that on Instagram?
Yeah, it's the Instagram handle. Is that easier?
Okay, drop that in the chat and I'll copy that over.
No problem.
Yeah. Oh, and wait, maybe I should just end the segment here. All right. Okay, so this will do it for episode 35. Thank you all for watching and listening. Yeah. Subscribe over to Substack. 5 stars on Apple, 5 stars on Spotify. Write me a review of what you think of this. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next episode of the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. Peace out.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam.
Stop.